Hello everybody, welcome to number 27. I'm Jack and this is a Rover 75. It is my Rover 75. When I said I was buying one of these, the reaction from most of my mates was not overly positive. But I think they don't know what they're talking about. I think that these are quite interesting cars. Now, the question is, have I bought a little diamond or have I bought a total pup? So we're going to be getting it on the lift. I'm going to be having a look underneath, checking out for structural rust, anything like that. And all the bushes, the brakes, all those little bits, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be okay. Let's see. First glance, really doesn't look too bad, but let's have a bit of a closer smidge around. And today I'm also going to do a bit of winterproofing and put on some stuff so that when I run it through winter, it's going to protect it a little bit. But so far, seems fairly good. There's a little bit of surface rust about, but nothing that looks like it's going to be a worry. These bits are probably the worst, but they all look structurally sound. We'll take a closer look in a minute and use the pry bar as well. There's definitely a little bit of movement in that side to side, but they are solid, or pretty solid, front to back. So I don't know if that's normal for these, but it has passed the MOT with no advisories about the bushes, so I don't think that's an issue. Tiny bit of movement, but not bad. This one, it's not bad. And no movement at all front to back. A little bit side to side, a bit of surface rust, so just going to be treating all that, but otherwise it seems very solid, which is reassuring. And at the front, no movement at all in the ball joints. These I checked with my hands earlier, they're okay. Now the tracking does look off. You can see the way the tyres are wearing, and I was saying that the steering didn't feel quite right. I've got to hope that these aren't too seized so that I can get that done. Now this, just, I don't know if you can see, it's very lightly just starting to split at the edge there, but not too bad, still pretty serviceable. And on this side, still looks okay. There's a little bit of moisture there on the ends of the rack there, but that doesn't really look too serious. I think that's probably okay. I didn't film everything, but I have checked all the various bushes and joints and stuff, and everything's all right. Some of them look a little bit tired, but still definitely not within MOT failure. So all in all, it is looking pretty good. Brakes next, and then after that, we'll give it a clean and just winterproof it. So the discs are a little bit lipped and corroded on the edges, but they're still good. And I don't know if you can see there, but there's probably about 5 mil on the front pads. And the rear discs are really good, and the pads look like they're basically pretty much new. So changed within the last few thousand miles for sure. So first, a good clean with a steel brush just to take away all the loose surface rust. Then I apply some Lano Guard. The reason why I use this is A, I had some left, but B, it's super easy to apply. The downside is that I think you need to apply it at least once a year. because it doesn't last quite as long as if you had a layer of Waxol or anything like that. But the other good thing is that you can see what's going on underneath, so you won't be surprised by loads of rust hidden under a sort of layer of tar or whatever you have to protect it. So yeah, I'm just going to finish off with some cavity wax in some of these holes in these sort of cross sections. For this I'm using Dinitrol. So that's all done, so should be good for another winter. The alignment, which I suspect needs doing, I've managed to find somewhere that's going to do it now, so we're going to head over there. We'll see how much it's out by, and also if it ends up driving significantly better, because as I always said, the steering never felt quite right on this. As you can see, the tracking really was quite far out at the front there, so it's a good job that I got that done. Driving it around now, it actually feels, I think, a little bit better than it did before. It's still not exactly a class-leading sort of steering system. It's not massively full of feel or anything like that, but it does feel a little bit more natural, so that's absolutely great news. So the main little things that I wanted to do, prepping it for winter, that's done. So I have found a bit of an issue with the Rover. When I first got it, I noticed that it smelt really musty, but I know that Glenn had unplugged the rear drain holes from the sunroof, and so I assumed that it was just a sort of a smell from before when it had had water ingress. As I was cleaning it the other day, I had a look in the boot and found a load of water in there, so I knew there was something else going on. After a chat with Glenn, did a few tests. So don't worry, I'm not actually using vodka. This is just an old empty bottle. But you can see that the roof drains actually work fine, the sunroof drains. But with a hose and so on, I found that there's water actually getting into the boot through capillary action through the seal itself. So it kind of collects, and then you can see the little traces of water. So it's a very slow leak. It's a small leak, but it has been happening for a long time. Now ordinarily I'd replace the seal, but I believe that it might be possible to just get this sorted with some silicone. But this is quite a cheap car, and a new seal, the proper one's going to be, I think I had a quick look on eBay, 70-80 quid, so I think there's no harm trying quickly with a bit of silicone and seeing if that sorts this out and helps or not. So that's the next thing. So I've marked it up in several places just so I can put it back the same way it was shaped before. And now, a question of just taking it off. Looks like someone has already siliconed it in the past. Yeah. I think part of the problem was they hadn't used enough silicone the first time round, so I have used quite a bit now. So it's all resealed with a bit of help from Pistachio, who luckily didn't get any black silicone on him, because that would have been terrible. What are you doing in here? Come on, come out. Pistachio, Yenny, come on. Cats are so obedient. Anyway, we're going to do the hose test again, but I'm going to leave it to cure for a few days first. So we're going to snap now to a few days' time. A few weeks have passed, and I have managed to get this dry now, but it wasn't as straightforward as I thought. The things that I did in terms of the actual seal, that did help and it improved it, but there was still an issue, and water was still coming into the boot from somewhere. So I spoke to the ever helpful Glenn, who sold me this car in the first place and knows them really well, and he said that he thought that there might have been a problem with that seal. Let me just move you over and I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so apparently water can get under this sort of rubber seal here, where there's little clips that hold it in place, and that can then go down into the boot. So he said just sort of squeeze loads of silicone in there, especially where the little clips are, but don't touch the clips because they will just break. So that's what I did. I went in there, you can see the traces because I only had red silicone at that point. I used red silicone to put it in here, but that has finally cured it. So now the boot of the 75 is dry. Thank you all so much for watching so far. Say hello to, there he is, Pistachio. Typically, being a cat, at the moment I try and get him on camera, he buggers off. Anyway, yeah, everything's good with the 75. I'm just going to use it for a daily for a while. I might sell it soon, buy something else, just because there's only so much YouTube stuff I can do with this at the moment. So if anyone's looking for a diesel 75, 80,000 miles, this is a pretty good car really. Then do drop me a message, otherwise I might sell it in spring or something, and it's fine to use as it is for the moment. Thank you so much, see you soon.